everyone. So I'm finally back with another Lauren's Take after like 100 years. Sorry about that. So today I want to talk about something that I feel like I've talked about like a good amount on Twitter and Tumblr and other things, but I haven't really said a long thing about it because it's always just me responding to someone who asked me for advice or something. So I'm gonna talk about toxic friendships. I think this is a lot more common of a problem than people think. You might be watching this thinking that you have good friendships, but after you finish it, you might realize that they're not very good. So just warning you. So I guess we should start by defining what a toxic friend is. And this could be not even necessarily a friend. This is any relationship. Any person who is acting this way is not a good person to be in your life and is toxic. A good friend, a good person in your life will make you feel valued, make you feel appreciated, make you feel seen and heard, and make you feel comfortable around them. They'll make you feel secure and confident to be yourself. They're not gonna judge you, they're not gonna criticize you, they're not gonna tell people your secrets. You just feel comfortable and you can be yourself and you feel good about yourself. And after you hang out with them, you feel good about yourself and your life. So a bad friend or a toxic friend, there's not one version of this. There's so many different ways someone can be a bad friend. And it's basically anyone that makes you feel anxious when you're around them, or bad about yourself, or insecure, or makes you feel like you can't say certain things because they'll judge you, or they'll do something that you don't want them to do, or they'll think less of you if they knew your flaws, or if they knew who you really were. If you don't feel like you can be your full self around someone, that is not good. And sometimes maybe that's just your thing and you're scared of being yourself, and you shouldn't put that on the other person. If another person is being nice and accepting and not criticizing you at all, and you still feel like you can't be yourself, that's not really their problem. That's a thing that you have in your mind of being scared to be yourself. So don't put that on another person unless they are specifically making you feel like you can't be yourself. And there's also other things someone making you feel like you're not allowed to say what you want or do what you want to do. If they make you feel like you're not allowed to be hey, I'm really tired, so I'm gonna go home. If they're oh my gosh, and they're offended by that, or try to pressure you into not leaving because you want to leave, and that's when it's obviously something that's best for you and your mental state and your well-being. If they don't support that and they pressure you and make you feel like you can't say no, that is a horrible friend. You should never, and this goes for you, the viewer too, if you do this, do not pressure people to stay when they want to leave, to do something they don't want to do, to literally do anything they don't want to do. Do not pressure people to do that, because that's not cool and that's not okay. And if anyone's doing that to you, you need to tell them that. You need to tell them, look, I need you to stop trying to control me, trying to pressure me, trying to make me feel guilty for doing what's best for me, because that's not okay, and I'm gonna do what's best for me anyway, and if you're going to treat me like that, I can't talk to you anymore, because that's so hard to deal with. I know for me, I can be, not so much anymore, but my tendency is to be a people pleaser, and for a while it was so hard for me to say what I wanted to say, or do what I wanted to do, or disagree with someone. If someone was hey, you want to hang out? And I was oh, I'm really tired, I think I just need to kind of take today to chill. And they're no, just come on, hang out. And I was I don't know. They're no, just come, hang out with us. Then I'd be okay, and I would go anyway, even though I didn't even want to go. And you should know that it's totally okay to not want to hang out with people, and it doesn't mean that you have any problem with them, and they shouldn't think that it means you have any problem with them. Sometimes you just don't want to hang out, and it's not about the person, it's not about anything, it's literally just that you don't want to hang out and you need some time for yourself, and that is totally okay. So you're in the situation, you realize, hey, my friends are actually not very good, they're pressuring me, they're criticizing me, they don't accept me, they don't make me feel like I can be myself, I don't really like how I feel around them, I feel really anxious, I feel really sad, I feel really insecure. This is what you need to do. You need to tell them That's the first thing. You can't just be like, oh, this person's not good, bye, and like ghost them or just like stop talking to them. Like that doesn't really help anyone. It doesn't help you because then you're anxious because you're like, oh, but then they're gonna ask why I'm ignoring them or they're going to harass me or anything. Like that doesn't help you. It gives you anxiety, and it also doesn't help them because then they'll never know that they have this problem that they need to change and that they need to fix in order to treat people well. Like I think that it's everybody's duty to call people out when they're doing things wrong and when they're not being their best selves. I think that it's really important to be honest with people and tell them that, because if you don't tell them that, they're gonna live their whole life treating people wrong, and it's like you could have been the one to change that just by bringing it up to them. And it's like you can't control whether or not they agree and like follow what you said, but you can control yourself bringing it to their attention, you know? And also it's like maybe they didn't even realize that they were doing this thing. Like maybe they didn't realize they were pressuring you or criticizing you, and then they can figure out like how to change it. So you need to tell them like, hey, I feel really pressured to not say no to you ever and to always hang out with you even though sometimes I don't feel good. Or like, hey, I feel really criticized when I'm around you. Like, it's hard for me to be myself because I feel like you're gonna make fun of me if I do anything like weird or whatever it is that you feel like they make fun of you for. But also don't say it in this really like accusatory way of like, you criticize me. Like, don't do it in this blaming way. Just say it in a more like the way that makes you feel. Like, I feel like it's hard to be myself around you because I feel criticized. Instead of saying, you criticize me and I can't be myself. Like, that doesn't really help anything. That kind of like puts them on the defensive. So like don't put people on the defensive because it doesn't really help you. So you tell them that, and then you give them a chance. Like you give them some time to fix whatever the issue is, right? So basically, there's only two ways it really goes. You tell them, hey, I feel criticized or whatever, and then they can either say, oh, I'm so sorry, like I didn't mean to act like that, I didn't mean to make you feel that way. Or they can be like, well, I don't care. So obviously if they do the second option, then that's just not a good friend, and you just need to be like, okay, well, if you don't care about how I feel in this friendship, then I don't think we should be friends because you don't care. But if they say like, hey, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize that, blah, blah, blah. If they don't ask for specifics of what they're doing that's hurtful to you, then you need to tell them like, you know, when you make comments like this, or when you do this, or when you do that, like that's what makes me feel this way that I don't want to feel. So if you could not do these certain things, then that would make this friendship a lot better. So you tell them your problem, you tell them what it is that they're doing that's wrong specifically so that they can fix it, and then you give them some time to fix it, right? Because you can't just be silent for 100 years and then just be like, you're a horrible friend, bye. Like, I have done that before, and it's just really not good. Like, you didn't even give them a chance to fix it, and it's like, that's not really fair to them. So don't stay silent for 100 years and then just blow up and leave. Like, that's not a good plan. I can tell you that from experience. So you give them some time, and if they change their actions, then cool, you're good. And if they don't change their actions, then you need to follow up with what you said. Like, you can't just make empty threats and then just be like, no. You have to follow through on what you said. So you need to be like, listen, I told you that this was bothering me or this was hurting my feelings, and I gave you a chance to change it, and you haven't done anything. So I don't think we can be friends because you obviously don't respect me and you don't treat me the way that I want to be treated. So I can't be friends with you if you're not going to change that. And then they might be like, oh no, please let me change. And then, okay, you could give them another shot, give them a little bit more time to change. But if they still don't change after that, like, you have to make good on your threat and just be like, okay, we are done being friends because you don't respect me. Sorry, bye. And I know that that sounds really scary because it's like, sometimes like that's your only friend. And like I've been in that position where like a super toxic person was literally my only friend. And it's really scary because you don't want to lose that, because then it's like, okay, but if I end this friendship, I will literally have no friends. But for me, I would rather be alone than be with people who make me feel alone anyway. Like, the whole point of having friends is to have that connection and that community and that love and that like friendship. So if you don't even have that anyway, then you're basically alone, but it's worse because you're technically not alone. So that really confuses your brain, and then you're like, why do I feel so alone and sad when I'm not alone? So if you don't even have that anyway, then there's not really a difference between having them in your life or not, because it's just kind of sad either way. But at least if you stand up for yourself and you cut someone out of your life who's treating you wrong, like, you can start finding other people who actually treat you right. Because some of you might also be thinking, I'll never find another friend, I'm so shy, like, I don't know how to talk to people, I don't know how to make friends, blah, blah, blah. But that's not true. You will find another friend. You can find better friends. Like, people are not all horrible. They're really not. There's a lot of, like, nice people who know how to treat people. Like, there really are, and you can find them if you just dedicate yourself to it. Like, if you just really make it a goal, I'm going to find good friends, and you keep your eyes open for people and opportunities to make those good friends, and you really, like, take the risk of putting yourself out there, of talking to people, you will find good friends. You will. And then there's also the kind of scary thing of, like, okay, but then I'll have this whole problem with this person. Like, because probably this person who's a toxic friend to you is kind of, like, scary and intimidating and rude. So, like, if I end this friendship, like, they'll bully me, or it will be really awkward, or they'll tell everyone all this bad stuff about me. But it's worth it. Like, it's so worth it to let go of these people that are causing you so much pain, who are supposed to love you. It's so worth it to let those people go. And yeah, it will be rough for a little bit. Like, you'll be sad, you'll be lonely. There will be a fallout, but you will get over it, and they will get over it, and everything will be fine soon. Like, that's something that I've realized, is every time you end something, like, it literally feels like the end of the world, and it feels like you're gonna feel like that forever, and it's gonna be horrible forever, but it's not. Like, people move on. You will move on. They will move on. The whole situation will soon be in the past, and you will feel so much lighter and so much better when you let these people go. When you let them out of your life, when they've been weighing you down for so long, you'll feel so light and so free without that. So that is my take on toxic people in your life and what to do about it and what that looks like and what that is. And I just really want to encourage you guys to think about the relationships in your life, and think about how people are treating you and how you're treating other people, and how those people are making you feel and how you are making other people feel. Because relationships aren't supposed to be these, like, hurtful, anxious, painful things. Like, they're supposed to be warm and loving, and they're supposed to make you feel good for the most part. Like, yeah, everyone has struggles, and every relationship is gonna have struggles, but it's not supposed to be just this giant struggle the whole time. That's not how it's supposed to be. So thank you guys for watching. If there's anything else you want to see me talk about in the next video that I make, which will hopefully be sooner than like 100 years after I post this, then please leave me a comment, send me a tweet, something, a carrier pigeon, a telegram. Just let me know what you guys want to hear my take on, and I hope that this gave you some insight. So yeah, tweet me. I'm always on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. I post somewhat regularly, and I will see you guys soon. Oh my gosh. Okay, my camera just fell. Well, my phone. It's not a camera, it's just my phone on a little tripod thingy in front of me.